Now I've shown this before on the Monado, which is a very similar airplane to this. But I thought I'd show it one more time because I see so many mistakes of installing canopies. When I say mistakes, the canopy needs to look like it belongs there. So the first thing you're going to do is, of course, paint the area to match the airplane. That's what I like to do. And we've cut our canopy out. And we have to get it ready to install. In order to do that, I'm going to take 80 grit sandpaper and rough up the inside of this all the way around. And then every 1/4 inch I'm going to poke a hole in it. That's where the glue is going to stick, ooze through. Now normally, I try to get these wiped out as good as possible. We're not going to worry about that right now because of the dust that I'm going to create sanding this. So what I normally do is I take a piece of 80 grit sandpaper like so, and I just carefully go around the inside. You don't want to go up into the area. You want to stay in the relief. It's about a 1/4 inch down. If your canopy doesn't have a 1/4 inch relief, you can always tape one off. We have to have something for the epoxy to stick to. And I hate doing these canopy installs, because you got one chance. As I showed on the Monado, after we get this prepared, sanded with the holes in it, we'll go ahead and paint the inside of it. You have to paint the inside to keep the superfill from showing to the inside of the canopy, because remember, we're going to superfill on the outside. Now the bottom of the outside gets sanded as well, but we're not going to worry about that until after the outside has been taped. I'm hoping that you can see what I'm doing here. I've moved the lights and the camera to a different position. If I had some help, we could probably do some pretty good building video. And this is a pretty important step we're doing here. As I stated on my other airplane, the other time that I did this in front of the camera. When my canopies are put on, you probably could lift the airplane with the canopy. Two ways to do this. You can cut a notch in it, which we're not going to do because we had such good luck on the other one doing it this way, and set this into the notch, or the stick pin method is what we're going to do here. And I will end up having to cut the camera because we're going to have dry time for the dope. Okay. You'll notice I've sanded the inside of this bottom all the way around. Now, I take a block like so, and hopefully I can find a T-pin. Otherwise, you'll be drilling. It doesn't look like it. Any other time when I don't want them, I'm falling all over them. Here they are. Large T-pin. Let's move the camera down so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Zoom in a little bit. I got quite the mess going, you can see. You take your block, set it on the table. Your canopy. I'll just hold it in my hand, I guess. About halfway between the distance of the relief and the bottom, about every 1/4 inch, start punching a hole. I can see I need to sand this a little bit up there. I've been thinking about my got up a little high there. About my wheel pants. And they're going to be a little different than normal. They're going to be an open wheel pant. Because I want that shape, but I don't want that weight. Now let me check and make sure that this is going to work. Yeah, it's going to work. It's just going to be a pain. Does this help? I don't know. Just how I've always done it. Remember, if you watch the Monado canopy install, we want the epoxy to ooze out of those holes. And the reason for painting the inside is so that you don't see the superfill through the canopy. That's probably the biggest step that I see get left out. And why? I don't know what these models are worth, or what your time is worth. But let's say $2,000. I wouldn't sell this for $2,000 right now. I'm going to play with this airplane, and at the end of its life I'll sell it for $1,500. So why would I sell it for $2,000? There's just no way. That would mean my time is worth nothing. Okay. I'm sorry this video is not real glamorous, but it kind of lets you into my shop while I'm doing this stuff. So now we're going to paint the inside. Probably going to take a couple of coats, because unfortunately all I have is thin paint. Now we're not even going to try to paint the frame. On the Monado I had tried to paint the windscreen and that, but after attempting to do it, I felt I didn't want to chance ruining the inside of the canopies with a drop of paint or whatever. I opted just to paint the bottom edge, and we'll paint the window frame from the outside, because this canopy gets sealed and clear anyway. I tried to explain to a guy at the hobby shop. Here in St. Louis we have so many problems with inner city kids. And as you know, most of you guys are my age or older. When we were kids, you'd hear a model airplane start up and you'd ride your bicycle to the schoolyard and you'd wonder what the heck is going on. Well, now we're out in the middle of nowhere. Bunch of old guys playing with toys. And a lot of the old guys don't want the kids around our toys. But you got to think back when we learned. If they all did the same thing and they said, well, you can't come around here, we wouldn't be doing this. Anyway, what I was getting at is it takes about 400 hours to build an airplane. And if you could get 10 kids out of how many million are here in St. Louis, that'd be 4,000 hours that they wouldn't be shooting each other or doing drugs or whatever they're doing. But then the guy said you can't get them interested in it, and he's probably right. I just thought it would be a good program to get the mayor or, get the guys involved in mentoring inner city kids. Into something constructive. Would help our hobby grow too. But he's probably right. There's probably no interest. It's a thing of the past. And it takes a special kind of person to do this too. Analytical thinking, good hand-eye coordination, reasoning. And remember, we're not trying to make this beautiful from the inside. I just want to block out the superfill. So I'm going to cut the camera, we'll let this dry. I'll probably add another coat because it's pretty transparent. And then we'll come back and we'll glue it on, and you got one chance to do it. I gotta glue the pilot in. I don't think I'm gonna do any. I had a little yoke in the last one. I don't think I'm gonna mess with that. I'm not sure whether I want to do air tanks or not, but now is the time we got to think about it. So any cockpit details we're going to do need to be done now. I had some sunglasses, a visor for this pilot, but I think he looks dorky with them on. So that'll get left off, I guess. I don't know. Everything looks half finished on those sunglasses. Nothing I could do. I didn't make them. So we'll cut the camera. I'll come back after I got another coat of dope around the inside of that canopy. We'll do any canopy or cockpit details we're going to do. I might make up another one of those tanks. I should have made a few of them up while I was doing them. And we'll go from there. So, we'll see you in a short. Today's exercise is the mounting of the canopy. I went ahead and painted under the canopy and got the pilot mounted. And if you want to see how this canopy is installed, just refer to the Monado canopy video. I don't see a need to redundantly do the same thing over and over again. This is the exact same canopy on a similar airframe. But I'll make a quick note of how it's done. First, I painted the inside of the canopy frame. Then I stippled it every 1/4 inch with a pin, T-pin. This one I cut a slight notch in the corners here so that it would be less filler to go in here. Then epoxied it on and waited for it to dry. Now I did have a couple of places that didn't quite stick, so I did something that I don't suggest that you do, but when you're stuck, you're stuck. I went ahead and held it at an angle and wicked some CA into it and hit it with some accelerator. The reason why I don't suggest it is if you hold it at the wrong angle, one, it can wick down the side of the fuselage and then you have a hard spot in the paint job. Two, it can wick inside the canopy onto the cockpit interior. Or three, the worst possible scenario is that it will wick up into the canopy. Fortunately, being very careful, none of these three scenarios happened to me. But I'm still waiting on it to dry. It's pretty close to dry. I gotta find the black tape. We're gonna tape the canopy, the clear part off with black tape. And the reason we use the black tape is it's similar to fine line. It leaves a nice edge, whereas masking tape leaves a ragged edge. And I'll go ahead and tape all this up. Then we're going to sand this, superfill, prime, sand, prime, sand. It takes about 5 sand outs. And this becomes absolutely, it looks like it's molded right in to the fuselage. Now the reason why I chose this canopy, I really like the P-51 canopy, not for its shape, but for its design. How they have a ridge around the bottom. Because if you look at my Monado, after it's molded in, it looks as if the canopy is set exactly perfect onto the fuselage. So that's why I like that. So once again, if you want to see how that canopy is mounted, I went into an in-depth tutorial on the Monado building video. And it's the same canopy, done the same way, on basically the same airplane. So, there we have it. We're about 2 weeks out now, I would say, from a painted airplane. And then again, I'm not in a big rush. Could be a month out, but I get excited when I get to this stage. It's just so cool to watch them take shape. This is the fun part for me, the actual bringing them to life. Now I got to tell you, this wing has been sanded with 1000 grit. It is absolutely perfectly smooth. This piece feels like plastic or metal. So does the nose. Now this has some overspray on it, so it's got, you know, it's a little rough, but I'll sand that out as I sand this. And the next exercise after I get the canopy done will be to paint the leading edge white, the bottom of the airplane white, a stripe in the fuselage white. Then we're going to backmask the white and shoot the purple. And the purple is on the top of the fuselage here. Leading edge will have checkerboards on it. The trailing edge is going to be yellow. That will wrap around to the underside. And the underside is going to have red checkerboards on it. And then the white stripe will come through this way, or excuse me, yellow stripe this way and down, and then a white stripe in the center, and this will be all checkerboard around this way. Then of course I'm going to do my gold leaf lettering. I think that'll look really good on purple. And the tail is green. And the color green that I'm going to, well, there'll be some green up here, a couple of green stripes to tie this all together. But it should be quite the looker. It should really pop in the air. As I said, it's a derivative of the Voodoo paint job, not exactly the same. I gotta have more flash than what they got. But I do like the purple, yellow, green combinations that they had there. Now Derek Barry's green airplane, I guess he lost it this year. I think that was the airplane that he lost. That was a real stunner. I really liked that particular paint job. Even though he didn't dream that paint job up, that was, you know, done very tastefully and very stunning. I think it could have done better as far as the concourse at the Nats goes. It was just, you know, spectacular. But this year's winner of the concourse, Todd Lee, absolutely deserving. Not a question in my mind. That's the one that deserved to win. So I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy with the perfect fit cowl setup. When this is painted, you won't even be able to see that line. It's super. So I'll do that again. And as I said, I've taken considerably more time to go over this airplane, any of the imperfections. Will I ever win the concourse at the Nats? Who knows? It's kind of up to everybody else. All I can do is the best I can do. I think it's going to be spectacular. I don't think it's going to be mid-50s though. I'm a little bit upset with that, but there's not a whole lot I can do. Because when we weigh this baby up, I'm at 34 ounces with no landing gear, no motor, no tank. So we got 34 plus 20 ounces of hardware. That's 54 ounces. That's already mid-50s and no paint on it. So 6 ounces of paint, 60 ounces. Just the way it goes. I mean, it's a big airplane, 62-inch wingspan. Not a whole lot I can do. I keep shooting for that Billy weight, but I don't know how he does it. Anyway, that's all I got. Remember, look at the Monado canopy video. Maybe I'll post that in this thread as well. So, we'll see you in a bit. Okay, one important step that I thought I would mention, even though we're not doing the canopy install video, is after getting it taped off and sanded, don't forget to paint it one more time before you start primering and the other. That way the canopy on the inside is the same color as the fuselage. I'm going to take some 180 and we're going to scuff up the frame on the windscreen just so that the paint sticks. You don't have to scuff it way up, you know, just if you don't do that, you will kick yourself in the butt when you look inside there and go, oh no, I see primer and superfill and I have made that mistake before, and that's why I thought it was worth mentioning one more time. I believe it's shown on the Monado canopy install video, but when something is as important as this, I feel that one more mention of it can't hurt. So now we have it scuffed up all the way around. And I may or may not get this done today. I don't know. I'm not in a big rush. But I've taped the canopy off with a black electrical tape. And I just get out my little touch-up gun. I work in such a small space. This camera's right in the way. Okay. I want everybody that watches these videos, when you see me at the field, inspect these things that I'm showing you to see how they look, like the wing tips and the canopy installs and because it's worth. It's one thing to say something. It's another thing to say it, do it, and have it look right. So there you have that. That's that part. That's all it gets. And now we can start the process. As soon as this dries, 10 minutes. We'll mix up some superfill and putty that thing in, start sanding, and puttying it in. And when I'm done, you won't be able to see this line. It'll just be gone. And I believe the superfill helps hold the canopy on too. But it's sanded up with 80 grit all the way around, the wood and the canopy itself. So we'll be back when I get this all mounted up. I thought I'd interject this as I'm doing this. I believe this is probably the hardest thing to do and make look right. I know for sure it's one of the messiest things to do. We're going to have to wait till the filler kind of firms up some. So that I can go around with alcohol and smooth it out. But I really don't want to do this any more than one application, so I want to leave enough on that I can smooth out remember the fillets took 4 applications to do. I don't want to go through that on the canopy. However, I'll do whatever I have to do. But if I get enough on here, frosted on there like you're frosting a cake, and then when it sets up, I'll come back with alcohol on my finger and smooth it out. God, it's messy. You can see right here it's going to be low, so I'm going to have to add some there. So now it's just a matter of waiting 15 or 20 minutes or a half an hour, whatever it's going to take to firm up. And once it firms up, we can come back with alcohol on my finger. And smooth it out pretty good. We really don't want to have to do any more sanding than that is absolutely necessary. I'm sanded out. I have all those other projects that I'm painting, and once I get this molded in and I get the base on it, I can start painting 1 coat of paint per day and leave this set aside while I work on the other airplanes. So I wanted to get this that far along in the project instead of just stopping this and working on the other airplanes. I added some more paint on the other ones last night that we'll have to sand off. There's going to be a ton of sanding for the next 3 months. I don't see any way around it. If anybody would like to come over and learn how to sand, I'll give you my address. Just send me a private message on the forum. Come on over, I'll teach you how to sand, because there'll be plenty to practice with. I often thought about doing a workshop on sanding techniques, how to sand shape. But believe it or not, like a lot of guys think they know how to do it, but don't really. And I was fortunate enough to be taught by some of the better guys in the hobby. And it really shows when it's sitting on the line who sanded what. And believe me, sanding is a signature, and I can tell you who sanded what. Not a question in my mind. Anyway, I thought I'd give you an update on that when 15 minutes or so when I come back and smooth it out. I'll show you that, and then we'll take the tape off, and I'll go ahead and load the movie up because the rest of it's just sanding and priming. So we'll see you in a bit.